What's up, y'all? Goofy Rexy here. Hope everybody is doing well, and welcome to my TED Talk today. No, but seriously though, I wanted to make this video and talk about this. It's been something that I've been wanting to make for quite some time, and it's around this idea of trying to keep up in Marvel Strike Force. And honestly, man, whether or not you should stop, like you should stop, right? 100% you should stop. It is not worth it, and ultimately to kind of stop rushing in this game. And they've kind of just created this conundrum right now. The idea though of trying to keep up with it is just, it baffles me, right? At this point, I think keeping up is a theory at best, because it is essentially impossible unless you are willing to spend a buku ton of money. And even then, like, you can probably ask some whales and krakens. They are spending money, but even then it still feels hard to kind of keep up because then they release and change the meta the next month. It's like, what do you do, right? And I'm seeing more players who are just frustrated at this point, massively burnt out, and it's just because of everything that they're doing right now. There's like this massive, I think Philosopher made a video, talked about maybe the roller coaster or something like that. This basically like this freight train that we're on right now, these quick character releases, right? Every single patch, like it's not just the characters that are released every single patch, it's just how fast they're released. Like it's like every week we get a character, every week we get a character. It seems insane. There's really no way to sort of keep up with that and to have the gear in order to be able to do so. The offers are the rapid pace, the back-to-back events, the now month-long events, double-digit character patches, because that's the thing too. It's not just, all right, we're releasing these 4 new characters. It's these 4 new characters that are going to these 2 different teams. And hey, by the way, those three of the characters that are on those teams are now also getting a rework. And if you didn't invest into them before, which by the way, they know which teams players have not recently invested into, so they make sure that they rework those teams so that, of course, yes, they definitely take advantage of people probably trying to spend money to then gear up those characters to get them to max gear tier levels. It's just insane. This year we have Apocalypse, right? Which essentially means that any team that they release in Marvel Strike Force right now is not a skippable team. Young Avengers, A-Force, who you see some of the characters that I have highlighted right here, they're actually done. The only reason I'm even highlighting them is because I need to highlight characters to be able to farm mini uniques, because that's another thing which we're going to talk about here too, the G14s. But yeah, there's no skippable teams. A-Force, Web Warriors, Darkhold, Asgardians, Unlimited X-Men, who you need now in Darkhold. You need to be able to unlock Apocalypse. The next team, I feel like they're going to throw Marauders at us at some point. That's probably going to be a Scourge team. So that's probably going to be, hey, if a lot of you guys skipped the Madeline Pryor event or didn't try really hard in the Madeline Pryor event, hey, that might come back to bite you in the keister, right? And by the way, Marauders do not have Emma, because Emma does not have the Marauders tag. So be prepared for that one. And listen, I get it from the perspective of Scopely, where you got to make money. You got to make money, right? It makes sense. I understand that. But it's leading to a massive burnout with a lot of players trying to keep up with all of this stuff, and it's just not realistic. I want to say this right now: stop trying to keep up in Marvel Strike Force, and it's definitely intentional. And if you're kind of feeding into it, you're kind of feeding into their FOMO and kind of just going right along with it. We have a choice to make ultimately, right? Like, what type of player do you want to be in this game? What type of game do you expect? And you kind of just got to make adjustments where that is concerned. There's another Scourge event that's coming. We know Rogue is Rogue is probably a week or 2 away from now. Another Scourge team was announced with the Hero Asgardian teams. Players again are now probably rushing, right, to try to build up their Hero Asgardian team. Granted, the next Scourge is probably Scourge event. The War Scourge event is probably not even for a couple months from now, or not next patch, but probably the patch after that. G16, new bottleneck, still a bottleneck, and then we just got level 90, right? A level cap increase, which definitely means that G17 is definitely coming soon. I'm thinking probably next patch. And by the way, if you think that Cosmic Crucible is not important, those G17s most likely are going to go into the Cosmic Crucible store. So you definitely want to think again if you're sort of ignoring Cosmic Crucible. G14s, still a bottleneck. Still a bottleneck in Marvel Strike Force, which is kind of ironic when you think about it, because it's just like, you have G16 and G17, or G17 is on the horizon. Like, why in the world is G17 still a bottleneck, right? Now, there's so many suggestions that I could make in regards to like how to fix this stuff. And trust me, a lot of us are giving them a lot of feedback in the Envoy program. A lot of us are sharing information that you guys share with us in regards to kind of how to improve things. The bigger issue for me is how the hell do you deal with it, right? Like, how do you try to figure out what the hell to do? And I think one of the things that I would say as a headliner is you got to be smart. You got to be patient. In other words, you got to resist the effing FOMO. That's really kind of what it comes down to. Otherwise, you're going to end up burning out. I think one of the things that I've always thought about in Marvel Strike Force is game is about planning. It's not about, some of it is skill and some of it is, how you can kind of theory craft sometimes. There's not a lot of theory crafting in the game all the time, so there's very minuscule that you can do, but a lot of it is about planning and how you go about building your roster. So for me, it's always about making sure that you're taking priority investments, right? It's investing into your arena team and investing into your raid team. Stop trying to force yourself to go after all of these new teams. Now, I get it. Some of these new teams will be required for Scourge, but also not every team is needed for the Scourge event in terms of you having to build them up to max level. And what I say about that, why I say that is because of this. For the Morgan Le Fay Pestilence Scourge event, right? I did not invest into my Dark Hunters past gear tier 12, and I get it. And I wasn't able to get an optimal score. I still got a 5-star by only really having high investment into my Web Warriors. My Dark Hunters were all gear tier 12. They worked efficiently as a SAC team, and I refused to try hard the Scourge event because ain't nobody got time for that. And I guarantee you that you ain't got time for that either. So for me personally, I'm like, listen, I am going to invest to a certain level to be able to get what I want. And then from there, sort of kind of move on, because otherwise I'm going to get burnt out. I'm going to spend hours upon hours upon hours trying to do a Scourge event when ultimately at the end of the day, I could have just walked away with a nice, easy, not that much effort into getting a 5-star character, and people try harder, and yes, they got a 6-star. And yes, sometimes it may be difficult for me to beat a 6-star. However, I can still beat the 6-star in arena as well. I'm still staying top 20 every single day in arena. So therefore it's like I was able to get a good amount of my life back by not trying hard in an event, got a 5-star, and I was ultimately okay. So priority investments, yes, arena teams, raid teams, and yes, your Scourge teams. I think at this point now, that's pretty much basically where a lot of your investments should go. Arena, raids, and then your Scourge teams. I think people will ask you questions. Well, what about Cosmic Crucible? What about Dark Dimension? What about War? Well, when you invest into your arena team and you invest into your raid teams, and then of course, invest into your Scourge teams, you're probably going to be able to fill out a lot of those teams that you do need for Cosmic Crucible, that you do need for Dark Dimension, that you do need for War. Yes, there may be some secondary investments that you have to invest into some of the other teams that probably aren't good in those other areas, arena, raids, and Scourge, but at the same time, your priority investments went there, and you're going to be able to get a multifaceted usage out of a lot of those teams and a lot of those characters. So in my personal opinion, I think that that's definitely the best way to go. I think, like I said, stop rushing to be the first to kind of do everything, right? I think a lot of players are just like, Hero as, like they saw the blog post on Friday, Hero as Guardian team, I must invest into them now. Well, what if the next team, the next Scourge team that's announced that you're going to need for War is actually the better team? Like, what if that's the better team, right? And you probably should make that your primary team. And maybe the Hero as Guardian team is a team that you leave at gear tier 12 because you don't really need to, you're only shooting for a 5-star, right? Like, that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. It's like we're kind of feeding into it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not letting them off the hook. Hell to the no, I'm not letting them off the hook. It's a nightmare what they're doing, but at the same time, there's a way that you can manage what you do and sort of kind of change your approach to make it work for you. Is pretty much basically all I'm saying. Understand that 3-star character events are probably going to be the norm. Why do I say that? You can now unlock legendary horseman characters at 3 stars. So guaranteed, our expectation at this point, and this is something that I've had where I'm going to be able to get a 4-star character, or I want to get a 4-star character. It's nice that they have the option of being able to do so with the month-long event, but I'm also keeping it realistic and saying to myself, well, most likely they're going to continue this track of 3-star characters because you now can get a 3-star legendary. So let's just we probably got to adjust our expectations where that is concerned, that they're going to think that 3-star character events are probably going to be okay. I will also say this, find out how you can do the bare minimum to get the majority of what you need, right? Like some of these events, they suck. And you just kind of like, it's like, okay, well, how can I put the bare minimum effort in order to be able to get most of the things that are there, and can I live without XYZ, right? I think to a certain extent that's kind of how you have to go about a lot of these things, because otherwise you are going to get yourself to a point where you're going to be uber frustrated, uber like tired of this game and want to put it down. And to be honest with you, for some of you guys, it probably is time to stop playing if it's getting to you that much, right? Like, I will be honest with you, right? I think one of the reasons why I've been able to stay afloat in this game is because I don't really do exactly what they want me to do. I kind of do things how I feel like I want to do them. And I do the bare minimum to be able to get most things. And I do fine in Marvel Strike Force, right? So to a certain extent, you kind of got to find a way that's a sweet spot for you that definitely does work. Always, there are going to be certain events, I should say, that you are going to have to try hard. And I do honestly get that. So try hard those events when you have to try hard them, but don't try hard everything, because ultimately you're going to end up burning yourself out. But the biggest thing for me, resist the effing FOMO, because otherwise you are going to have a miserable experience. And listen, I am not letting them off the hook. I'm going to continue to share my feedback with them and express your feedback too. Whenever you guys share things with me, I'm going to make videos and talk about things. That's usually how I express sort of my frustration, is usually by making videos, but I make videos about things. But I'm going to continue to do that because I want this game to improve. But at the same time, I do think that we as well need to adjust our expectations to make sure that our experience, that ultimately our freaking mental health is intact when it comes to playing this game. Listen, want to know what your guys' thoughts are? If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel here. If you're new, welcome on in. Good to see you. Leave it in the comments. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. Seriously, I want to hear what your thoughts are. And yeah, hopefully they make some changes here, but I do think that we definitely also need to change our expectations too in regards to just how some of these things are being moved forward. But listen, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe. Bye.